sixth graders, this is your math video for Monday, April 20th. So here we go. What I'm going to be doing first is reading the answers to your questions that you did on Thursday. So in the back of the book on page 362 and 363, you did some review over chapter 1. So now I want you to get your paper out, have your whatever you've been correcting with, have it ready to go. If you don't have it ready, pause the video, go get it, and then I want you to correct it. Now you're going to have to listen very carefully because I'm going to read these answers to you. I did not write them, I did not put them up on the board. So I'm going to have you read yours and be listening and listen carefully because I'm just going to read these to you. Okay, so here we go. Starting on number 1, you were to tell whether each equation is true or false. Okay, should have been pretty simple stuff here. So number 1, false. Number 2, false. Number 3, true. Number 4, false. Okay, next section, you are finding the value of each expression. These were order of operation type problems, so you need to make sure you followed order of operation. Going back and reviewing that should have been in your notes if you had forgotten how to do that. But that is following PEMDAS. So making sure we always do parentheses first. The E is for exponents. Then we always do multiplication or division, left to right. And then the last thing we do is adding or subtracting left to right, just like we're reading. Okay, so we follow like we're reading the problem, but we need to make sure we do it in that order. If we don't do it in that order, we're going to get off track. Okay, so number 5, you should have had 21. Number 6, 29. Number 7, 9. And number 8, 158. Okay, next section, we went down, now we're starting to do the odds. So you did numbers 15 through 21 odd. This is where you were first going to estimate and then find the sum or difference. So we're finding the adding problem or the subtracting problem. And first of all, though, we estimated, and we talked about on Zoom on Thursday, that little bit of a review on how to estimate. Okay, so here we go. Number 15, I will give you the estimation first and then the actual answer. Okay, number 15, you should have had 10 and then 10.44. Okay, number 17, doing just the odds. 2 and then 2.65. Number 19 now was a subtraction problem, so hopefully you did that. 7 and then 7.428. That was number 19. Number 21, 13, then 12.6381. And that was it for that section. Okay, now we went to the next section. This was finding the product. So you needed to do your multiplication with decimals. Okay, so now we went to number 23. That should have been 7.7436. Number 25 should be 6,882. Number 27, 10.7535. And number 29, 206.55. Okay, that was it for page 362. Now we went over to 363 and you had 3 story problems. Okay, the first one was just totaling up the number of instruments in an orchestra shown at the table. So you just had to add those up. And you should have come up with 56 instruments. Okay, number 40. We took a group of students, 28 students and 3 teachers. Teachers go to the theater. Each student pays $12. The school pays an additional $4. So it's actually $16 for each of those students. So 12 plus 4. Now there's 28 students, so we need to take 16 times 28. And then it says it costs $16 for adults. Well, there's 3 teachers going, so we need to take a 16 times 3. Now, find the total cost of the trip. You should have come up with $496. All right, last one, 41, currency. Okay, so you needed to take the Indian Rupa. It was 1/100. Now using decimals, write 256 as a number. Okay, so you should have come up with 2.56. 2.56. That would just be taking the 256 and dividing that by 100. And remember, when we divide by a power of 10, we could just bring our decimal over to the left 2 times when we're dividing. So you could just brought it over 2 times. That makes it 2.56. Okay, so that was a bit of a review. Now we're going to go on to our next thing, and that is 9-3. And that was looking at frequency tables. Looking at frequency tables, dot plots, and what a range is. Okay, on this side, I have the definitions. These are coming straight from your book. So I want you to write those out in your notes. I'm going to read through them. Obviously, if that's not enough time to write it, you can pause the video and copy it down, or you can get it right from your book on this page of 9-3. Then I'm going to go over to the other side, and we're going to actually do these things. Okay, so first of all, the first thing we'll be covering and looking at and creating is a frequency table. A frequency table is this. So here's the definition. I'll let you look at it here. It is a table that lists each item in a data set with the number of items that occurs. Okay, so we're going to create a table that's going to be listing out our data. This is going to help us because sometimes when we gather data, we want to be able to put it in something that makes a little more sense, that we can read and we can analyze the data a little bit better than just having a bunch of things on a piece of paper where it looks pretty random. Okay, so putting it into a frequency table will make analyzing data a little bit easier. Okay, the other thing is a dot plot. It's another way to analyze data and to make it look a little more simplified. And that is a graph that shows the shape of data by stacking dots above each item. Okay, so we're going to see dots in a dot plot. That makes sense, right? I mean, we're going to see the frequency, the little tally marks in a frequency table. Okay, so these are the 2 things we're going to look at. Then we're going to be able to find a range. So a range of a data set is a difference between the least and the greatest values, and I'll show you that in just a minute. So you could put that definition in, but then we'll look at that. So we're seeing the difference. Okay, that should ring a bell. Difference is subtraction between the least and the greatest. We just take whatever the greatest value is and we subtract the least. That gives us the range of that data. Okay, so let's move over here. You have those definitions. And now let's talk about these 2 things. Okay, and then we'll talk about range. So first of all, let's cover frequency table. So this was always pretty fun in class because we would get to do a lot of interviewing of one another and finding things out. So I'm kind of sad that we don't get to do this together because this was a really fun section. So anyway, I'm just gonna have to give it to you and let you. Maybe you could do this at home. Come up with some things. That might be an assignment that's coming where you'll have to do something like this and interview your family on something, and then on Zoom tell us what you did or something like that, because it is kind of a fun little exercise. First of all, let's start with frequency table. Okay, so frequency table is going to look like this, and a lot of times in class, our first one would be we would come up with some restaurants, such as, so let's put it up here, and we would say, okay, let's find out the favorite restaurant for this group of kids. Okay, a favorite restaurant. Now, over here, we would have to start with, okay, the restaurants, right? This is the restaurant category. So let's say we were doing Red Robin. Let's say we were doing Roadhouse. Get my paper here. And then let's say our last one was Olive Garden. Okay, so we just picked 3, and we were going to figure out, okay, what's the favorite restaurant in this group of kids here. So now, over here, we do our tally marks, okay? And then here, that would tell us the frequency. Okay, so now we go around and we get to interview our classmates. And so let's say in the end, this is what we come up with. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kids that say they like Red Robin the best. For Roadhouse, there's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then let's say for Olive Garden, there's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, now, so we've done our interviewing. Okay, over here, we're going to say, okay, how many frequencies were there? Well, we count up the tally marks. 6 here, 5 here, 7 here. Okay, now, if we were to add up our frequencies, we know that by adding these up, that's how many people we interviewed. So by adding those up, we know that that is 18. So we know that we interviewed 18 people. Just because every time we tallied, that represented someone, that represented some data. That was a person and what they liked, their favorite restaurant. Okay, now if we look, we realize, okay, obviously Olive Garden won. They had seven marks. Now, if we would have just been writing down on a piece of paper, Red Robin, Roadhouse, Olive Garden, Red Robin, Roadhouse, and every time someone told us one, we just wrote that name, and then we had a bunch of names on a piece of paper, that's not going to be as easy to read as putting it into this simple frequency table. So we just have our restaurants, whatever we're finding out about. I mean, this could be favorite sports, this could be favorite hobbies, this could be favorite colors, this could be all kinds of things. Just gathering data, gathering information about a group. So it's just a fun way to find out about each other too. So it was something that was really fun to do in class. We just covered different topics at times. Okay, so we tally and then we have our frequencies. Okay, this is a frequency table. So you're going to be practicing this in your homework tonight, doing a frequency table. Okay, now let's erase that and let's go to the next one. So that was the first thing we put down in our notes, frequency table. Now let's create a dot plot. Okay, a dot plot, remember it's in the name, dots. We're going to see dots. Okay, so a dot plot is another way to gather data and then put it into a type of graph or the table that makes sense so we can read and analyze our data just in a little bit easier fashion. Okay, so now let's say we're going to find out the dinner hour for families. Okay, so maybe this is something we're trying to gather information on. Okay, so we want to know the dinner hour for families. Now, dot plot is this. Before we would have put like here all the different hours, and then we would have gone around dinner tally marks and our frequency, right? Dot plot, we're going to draw a line. And then down below, we're going to put our time. So let's say we're analyzing 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and 8 o'clock. Okay, so these are the different times that we're looking at. The 5 o'clock hour, 6 o'clock hour, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock hour. We could have picked kind of whatever. But now we're going to go around and interview people. Okay, so now let's say 5 people, when you go interview them, they said 5 o'clock. So there was 5 for 5 o'clock. Now you might go and interview one person, they say 5, another person says 7. Well, if they said 7, you need to put a dot for that. Just whatever hour they're telling you, you need to put a dot for that hour. Okay, so let's say 5 people, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 said 5. 6 people, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people said 6 o'clock. 6 people said 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then let's say one person said we eat at 8. Okay, so here we had 6, and 6 is 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So we know we interviewed 18 people because every dot represents someone you talked to. And they told you what hour they were eating their dinner, what was most common for them. Okay, so now we know that based on this information that we have a mode here, 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock. These are they're the ones that recurred the most. Okay, so those are both the most popular eating times. We could see, okay, that this group tends to, a lot of the data is over in this area, not a lot here at the 8 o'clock. It's probably a little late for a lot So a lot of data right here. Now we're going to talk more about some different ways to read data later, but we're not going to get into that yet today. But this is how we set up a dot plot. We're kind of in the setup today, and then we're going to keep getting into more and more analyzing of these types of tables. Okay, now last thing, range. So we want to know what's the range. So what we do, if we go back and we say, okay, we take the difference from our highest value. So our highest value was an 8 o'clock hour. Our lowest value was a 5, so 5 o'clock. Okay, so now all we have to do is take the difference. So we would say for this set of data, there is a 3-hour range. Okay, so we're going from 5 to 8. Finding a range is really simple. You're just going from the greatest value and you're subtracting the least, and that's giving you the range for that data. So super easy, just need to scan through and look for what's the highest range, subtract the lowest from that, and then you're going to get the range of that data. Okay, so 3 big things. Today's plan is I'm going to give you a chance to work on setting up some frequency tables. You'll have 2 problems on that. You're going to have 1 problem on setting up a dot plot. And then you have, I think, 3 or 4 problems of finding ranges. Finding ranges, pretty easy, right? You're just taking your greatest value, subtracting your least value from it, and that's your range for that set of data. Okay, Tuesday, we're gonna get those answers and see how you should have done those. And then I'm gonna be going into a little more analyzing of these tables. So we're gonna keep working on this. So Monday and Tuesday, we're looking at how to understand this and really feel familiar with a frequency table and a dot plot and ranges. Okay, then on Tuesday, we'll be talking about how we can get into means and medians and modes a little bit more from these types of tables. Okay, but I just want to ease us in. So today we're just looking at setting them up, and then tomorrow we'll do a little more work with them. Okay, so that's it for today. Oh, yep, let's do our homework. So let's come over here. And this is also in your email, but you will be looking at pages 321 and 322. These 2 here are frequency tables, so we're setting up frequency tables. This one here is a dot plot. And so remember, you're going to do your line and your dots. Every time you see that number, you give it a dot. So get that going. And then here we're looking at ranges. Okay, so that's it for today. So hopefully this makes a little more sense and you'll feel confident as you're doing your work. Okay, talk to you later. Have a good rest of the day. Bye-bye.